Hey everyone, this is episode 47 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me is the biggest Chase Gasper hater, OSG. How's it going, OSG?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the nose. I hate Chase Gasper. Um, I hate the discords right now. I hate the 3-0 defeat last night from the Dynamo. But I'm happy with Dash. They got a home win. And then Dose went to Hollywood and got a win. So, mixed feelings today.
No, yeah. Road win is an interesting concept, It's something that the Dynamo can learn a thing or two about. But yeah, guys,
Jeez.
if if you watch all the games last night, there's definitely a lot to talk about, especially with the Dynamo coming off the 3-0 loss at St. Louis City, and of course coming off that big 6-2 loss at Vancouver, which we already talked about in the previous episode. So we're going to be focusing on St. Louis for this one, and obviously Dash and Dynamo 2 taking those big dubs last night at pretty much not allowing any goals, which is also something that Dynamo should learn about. Which I just find interesting that they let 10 goals past them, and like all the teams don't let anything.
Back to back 2-0 dubs for Dash and Dose. Back to back.
That's just
While the
crazy.
Dynamo over, they're getting their butts kicked. Yeah.
Like that's just crazy how to think about it, especially. But they both have the winning streaks going on now. Given it's only 2 games, but still, those are pretty good results. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the Dash because they've been pretty sluggish to start the season, but it looks like they're turning things around with the way they've been adjusting the lineups. And Dynamo 2, I can discuss it a little bit further down the episode. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and start with the Dynamo game, we can, because I like to start with the bad news first.
And shout out to the Surge for bearing down and making that trip to St. Louis. It looks like they were having fun touring the town and checking stuff out. And sounds like they had a good time at the stadium at the same time and enjoyed the game for the most part. I'm sure they have 1,000 complaints witnessing that in person, but they said the stadium looked great. Unfortunately, I missed it. I was not able to go like originally planned, but shout out to the Surge for having a fun trip. I know there's just a couple of them that are going to go ahead and drive up to Chicago, and the rest are coming back home either today or tomorrow. Probably today for some of them, since work is Monday. But safe trip for them, and that's all I got on the Dynamo game.
Yeah, I wish we could skip, but yeah, unfortunately we
Yeah,
have to go through it today. But yeah,
yeah.
guys, with that out of the way, let's get into the Dynamo game against St. Louis SC. Obviously, losing 3-0 on the road, and there's all to talk about. And we can definitely get started with the way the lineup was rolled out, because it was about time they had to rotate players, because we've been playing 2 games every week since like for a while now, and the players are getting tired. Obviously, we need to like rest those players. And with the lineup last night, obviously Ache had to be set down. Like he can't just play like every game like he used to, especially when we have like games in the middle of the week. And the other main thing I found interesting is that Basi was completely left out of the 18, and a lot of consideration to the fact that we do have like the Open Cup quarterfinals coming up on Tuesday, and I'm guessing Evan Olsen is also considering that we have to like wrestle starters to be ready for a road game in Chicago. And and yeah, like, and obviously my main kind of complaint was the fact that Thor isn't starting still, and and the reason I mentioned that is because he was subbed in, and the Dynamo looks substantially better, which I can definitely get into a little bit more depth about. But I wanted to hear what you wanted to say, LG, because there's definitely like a lot of questions, especially when it's time to rotate. And but at the same time, the way we looked at, especially in the first half and the beginning of the second half, it looked pretty worrisome.
Well, you said the lineup. So Chase Gasper started on the left side. And this is our third time seeing him. This is our third time hating him. So I think everybody feels the same way. He hasn't done nothing, hadn't shown nothing. He's got a left-footed cross, but he's not hitting the target. He's just he's poor. Uh, Eric and Bartlow started at center backs, which I think we all kind of expected right there. And I think it was Steris was on the right, right? And then, of course, like you said, the midfield was Saicedo and Arthur. When we know those both play, we're going to be very defensive. We didn't look very good defensive, but at the same time, we looked okay. Those stupid mistakes or whatever those soft ass penalty calls were and VAR calls, VAR just gets on my nerves sometimes. The decisions that they make to review calls and or to give it down to the referee because every call is reviewed by VAR, but it's just stupid the decisions VAR makes sometimes. Why this one wasn't reviewed, but this one, or why this one wasn't given to the referee, but this one was. And it's just friggin' ridiculous because I think we had one at one point that should have been reviewed, by, or they should have let the referee take a look at. It's like let him make a decision if he made his own mistake. And then they get two of them, and we go down and let the referee look at it. Like, come on, man, this is just getting it's getting a little bit ridiculous. I think if there's any kind of doubt in VAR, they just need to go ahead and give it to the friggin' referee. Let the guy who made the original call make a decision. I don't care about brutal error. If there's anything just kind of close, the referee needs to go down to the field and review it himself instead of letting these other guys review it that are watching it from a monitor, a different perspective, all that good stuff. Guy made the call. He had a decision to make. So whatever. I mean, I just VAR is inconsistent and it's starting to get annoying. But as far as the game went, man, it was so it was okay. Those two penalty kicks killed us. Obviously, that set piece right into the box. It looked like Steris didn't follow his mark into the box, and that guy just had a free header. What are you going to do about it? So they deserve that goal, I guess, since we don't want to mark. But it was just, annoying. We still got the offense still looked a little bit better, at least in the first half. They were getting opportunities. Aliyu was just having horrible touches during the game, so he couldn't. His first touch wouldn't set up his second touch, so he had to look like it was going to be a couple of great opportunities, and his touch failed him. There was a couple of times Coco didn't see his friggin' wide open guy, and he one he didn't pass it. The other one there was a wide open guy, and he should have went past Aliyu instead of giving it to Aliyu. Just difficulties across the board. You know, Franco and stupid little his stupid little play where the dude embellished being tackled to the ground, so he gets a red, goes to the locker room. They have to call him back out, and they do go to VAR, and rescind that to a yellow at least. So I'm happy for that. But you know, uh, give the guy a yellow for simulation too at the same time. Since you just changed it from a red, since it was obvious. Come on, that makes sense to me. Just like the last week, MLS comes out and says that the guy that Quinones got a red card for, he's fined for simulation. So is it still a red? Or did he punch him in the face, and because he was on General Hospital, he got fined for it because he over embellished the action or whatever? Or did he not get hit and he just got his shoulder brushed? And I don't know. This is crazy. And then we have to appeal the red. It should be automatic. If a card gets overturned or an action gets taken, it should be automatic. Dynamo shouldn't have to go appeal it. I don't know what the rules are for appealing or anything like that. If it costs you like $200 to appeal, like it used to be in youth soccer, but the rules are just stupid sometimes in the MLS and getting on my friggin' nerves. But anyways, I digress.
No, yeah. While we're with the officiating thing, I just wanted to say that this game was pretty rough with the way how this game was officiated, particularly the penalty kicks and the potential red card that was coming for us. I felt like the both penalties were pretty soft, and like given that the referee like awarded those penalty kicks, we still had. I felt like that way the game was essentially just put away because it was already 1-0 and then 3-0, and it could have been still like 1-0 to at least get a result there, but it's unfortunately just really subjective when it comes to refereeing and all that. But I thought that with all the way they had like all the angles for a VAR, they would at least get it right. But unfortunately, we got the two penalty kicks conceded against us, and I guess like for once in a while we get like a red card rescinded, which is good. And like you mentioned before, with a player that pretty much was embellish, and also the Vancouver game and also this game. The fact that MLS came out and said that they fined the Vancouver player for pretty much just getting Quinones sent off, and this game, the player that almost costed Franco to get sent off wasn't even given a yellow in the first place after the VAR check. So it's it's just interesting how that goes, but yeah, I don't want to get a lot into that conversation because at this point we're just pretty much blaming the game on the referees, which it really isn't. Because like on the field and just going back to a play, I do agree with pretty much everything you said about Lead in this game because I think saying it this since the game against Vancouver, he's been having like a pretty tough break and he hasn't had like any good luck per se because in the Vancouver game he looked pretty good, particularly in the first half. He could have like easily gotten 2 or 3 goals, and this game I wouldn't say so. Or at least like exactly the same how he played against Vancouver. Like he did get a lot of opportunities to score, but unfortunately, like he had like a pretty heavy touch that forced a giveaway, and either that or the shots that he made were just going straight to the keeper or just like off target. So it was pretty rough to see, but the main thing I had about this game is the fact that in the second half, when Achache came in and Thor came in, the Dynamo looked pretty good, and you can definitely say that that game was put away at that point, like late into the second half, before the third goal came in. But if you watch the game closely, you could definitely see just Thor like bolting inside the box and getting those opportunities, and Achache just being Achache like we've seen all season long. They look pretty good, but unfortunately, like past that point, the game was just out of reach for them to get a result after the penalty kick to force a third goal. So it was just unfortunate. And my main question, like at this point, is like we've seen Thor several times already starting, and what he can do. Why isn't he starting at this point? Uh, and given it's kind of like a pretty interesting scenario because Ali came in and Thor like you can it's pretty questionable to see like if he should be starting over Aliyu at the 9 or just put Aliyu on the wing and while given that Basi was pretty much unavailable the whole night tonight and yeah just a lot of questions overall for me especially in the front because the back obviously we have like the injuries going on but at the same time it was a pretty tough show.
Dude, it seems like the front three is going to be our problem for the rest of the season or as long as Ben Olsen's coach. He's obviously a defensive minded coach and he knows what he's doing defensively. I think he's missing that offensive attack, and I can't go back to his DC history to see what I don't know what they know about him or what they said about him as far as his attacking mentality goes and how he worked well. And I know he had Rooney there for a minute, but he wasn't coaching Rooney. Rooney was just on his team. So Rooney just does what Rooney does. But it's I'm okay with what Aliyu's been doing up top, and he's showing the some spark and some potential and some chances. I'm with you. Aliyu can go back and forth. Let's start Thor next game, especially in the Open Cup and Elite or even against LAFC. Especially LAFC, since Thor has scored against LAFC and has scored a banger against LAFC. Start Thor at the striker. Aliyu can be on the wing, and then everybody's favorite little boy Baird can be on the other wing. Bossy can come back in. I don't know how they're going to work that out. Somebody's going to have to sit the bench, obviously, when Bossy comes back. It's But yeah, when you get Thor more chance, or I don't know what Ben sees in the attacking players or what his mentality thought is on attacking players, because a lot of the fans are having different thoughts on the attacking players than Ben is, and I think that's where the difference is right now. We just got to figure it out, man. We're looking better attacking, but now that we're looking better attacking, our defense is kind of falling apart, and we've given up 9 goals in the past 2 games. So kind of embarrassing. But like we said before, this road trip's going to make or break us. So we have one more game that if we lose this Hoping Cup game, it's going to break us because then we can't perform on the road, and it's gonna. And then you saw the guys last night. It there's fight in them, but there's not unity in them. They're going out there and making stupid mistakes, and Ben needs to get that under control. Uh, I was a loud and proud coach when I was coaching. I went out there and I made some noise. I made some noise, but my players loved me and enjoyed me as a coach, respected me as a coach. There was a couple of times I did make them cry, but remember they're young girls. It was youth soccer at the same time. But 5 seconds later, they're trusting me again, and they're fighting for me, and they fought as a team. They fought for each other. So Ben needs to find that aspect in his game too. Now we know Ben's a stopgap for the next guy, so hopefully he can figure it out on the offensive side and turn this damn thing around, get the balance back together between light and dark, offense and defense, and let's let's do something about that. We have what 7 games left or 8 games left before Leagues Cup, so I would like to find some kind of camaraderie between both units before we get into Leagues Cup. If we're still failing by the time League Cups come, then I think our MLS season's over. You can go hard in the Leagues Cup and then come back and just try to salvage the rest of the season and figure out what you want to do for the following season that's coming up and rebuild and not rebuild, but continue to rebuild and fix some pieces. It's just Dynamo right now a lot of questions, a lot of questions.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the last thing I wanted to mention about this game is that, and also to bring up um the regular season and how it's going right now. We're currently sitting in 10th place, which is mostly just a product of our results on the road. And given that pretty bad loss against Seattle, it put us like it set us back, which where we were before, like a couple spots up top. And look, there's still like a lot of season ahead still, especially in MLS when there's like a lot of parity going on. But at the same time, like if you don't get like those results of the road, like we've been saying it for a while now, this was gonna happen. And like you said, they have to figure this out like as a unit and force those results on the road at this point, because you can win all the games at home, but like if you can secure like 1 or 3 points on the road, not every single game, but at this point it's just imperative. You're gonna get a much better playoff seating, and not only that, but also depending on the on outside results, it's gonna benefit you. So it's disappointing how the team looks on in MLS play, obviously, but it's like you said, we have Leagues Cup coming out in about a month, and yeah, like we also have like the Open Cup where we're still playing in a few days. So there's still like a lot of competition for the team to still be inspired by, but it's when it comes to MLS, they have to sort it out now.
And like you said, it's not going to get any easier. So we're at Chicago in an Open Cup elimination game. So it's a must win game. Can we get a draw and go into penalty kicks and just play the hopeful game right there? I guess that's what we're all going to hope for since it's the road. But after that, we have LAFC twice, one at home and then one on the road. So we don't expect to get that road win in LAFC. After that, we come back home to San Jose, and then we travel to Austin to finish off the month of June. And at Austin, I'm hoping we got to get our first win at Austin. And I've already bought my ticket for that game. I'm ready to go. Hopefully, people aren't discouraged to travel on the road, just especially for that game. Speaking of people getting afraid to travel, people are getting afraid to even watch the Dynamo anymore. So I've because of people's attitudes lately and their what's the word? Their complete insane negativity. It's just overwhelming negativity that is coming from the fans, and that's in. I don't read Twitter when the games, and I try not to read the discourse during games. But obviously, when you're away, you can see the Discord while you're watching games, so it's a little different than being at home. So both the Discords I'm in last night was just absolutely humiliating. Humiliating to even read the comments to where how negative. One guy talked about giving up his tickets and not even watching the Dynamo anymore. Sounds like a bandwagoner to me. So he's going to wait till the team is good to come back. Come on, bro. So I almost feel like if you can't support the team, then get the hell out of here, bro. Like, I don't know. And there's just other ones, just so capped in negativity. It was so friggin' annoying. I've muted both the discords now, and I'm not going back until someone tells me to come back. So if you're listening to this show and you tell me to come back to the Discord, I will. But I'm not coming back until one of you that listen to this show tell me to come back. I'm just so annoyed with the negativity, the takes. Oh my god, some of the takes are just so far off and so ridiculous. Like it's not even close to the realm. Like you can't even argue about the takes. It's just they're just so bad. You don't even want to get into it. Oh, so annoying. So you see what the Dynamo are doing? They're causing rifts. They're causing rifts, man. So that's why I'm in a
But
bad mood today, and I don't sound as excited as I usually do on the show. I'm annoyed. I'm pissed. I'm glad the Dash and Dose won. Dynamo aren't breaking my heart. It's the fans breaking my heart.
no, yeah, the one thing I wanted to say about that is that like, look, I know that the Dynamo have been pretty bad for like the past decade now, and we are still pretty like as fans. It's just pretty hard to be optimistic in some ways. Like even though we have like a new ownership here, and it looks the team is slowly turning things around. Like it's pretty easy to look at the small picture and to get like those results going right away to get hopeful to like not just make playoffs but how the road ahead is going to look like because we want to see the team win obviously, and we want to see like those results happen in front of our faces before we can get like hopeful or at least like optimistic with regards to like the good changes that have been happening to the team. And and with that, obviously, with the fact that we've been on this for like 10 years now, like even more, like depending how you want to look at it, like it's really hard to be patient at this point. Like I can definitely get why fans don't really have like time to wait and see how the results turn out because we've been waiting like 10 years for that one to be good again. Given that it's not really um, like Ben Olsen's, Pat Onstad's, or like Ted Siegel's responsibility to undo the results from the past because that cannot be changed. And but with that, like I feel like it's like with the way like every time Dynamo are like pretty much down, like it's pretty easy for people to just dogpile on them, especially when it comes to like road results and just whenever like something bad happens it's just easy to just be negative about it or just look at this as short-term solutions because like yesterday I've been seeing to like for the team to fire Ben Olsen already and like players to not play, not to mention not just like Chase Gasper but rather like other players, or they should take like a different approach to like sign a designated player superstar to turn things around. And and like it's not easy, and people have like their opinions about the team to do all those things, but at the same time you look at like how we want to be better, and we see our fans like at least for me because I'm just one of those optimistic fans that I'm trying to like see the picture positively. Like it's just that I'm seeing this, and it kind of it kind of puts a reflection on our fan base because we've been divided for so long at this point, and there's we're still waiting for a clear picture to see how the team's going to be like in the future, which I'm still pretty hopeful for because of the things that have been promised and they've delivered so far. But I'm guessing what people or what I'm trying to say is that people just want to see something happen so they can just be hopeful for because like at least for me like fans like me or you or like some of the folks that I know, like they're just gonna be optimistic and just wait to see how things turn out. But at the same time we have those fans that want to see the results and want to see the more changes, not just the ones that we've seen already but more results, especially in league play because like it's I definitely understand the frustration, and I also want to see my team do better. But at the same time, we have to look at where we at right now and what we're doing to get to the next level because we've clearly seen the changes already on the roster. We've seen it in the offseason, and we've seen that Ben Olsen wants to make changes, but obviously there's changes that Ben Olsen still has to take, and we've already mentioned the fact that we have to prioritize the road at this point. Otherwise, the season's pretty much lost. So it's obviously there's still like a long season ahead, and we'll see what happens. But I definitely understand your frustration and other fans' frustration with like how things look right now. But like at this point, at least for me, I'm still patient about it because I've already seen the changes, and for me, like I still believe like in Ben Olsen and Pat Onstad and the current front office. So it's it's interesting but tricky. But yeah, like you mentioned, there is a rift, and it's just like up to Dynamo at this point to pretty much just like put us back together.
Dude, I get it. 10 years of turmoil, 8 or 9 of those with I'll call him the number 23 because I don't like saying his name, but everybody knows who number 23 is in the world. So, the number 23 of a GM or GM, yeah, and then the owner, So I'm not even going to count those 8, 9 years that they were with us because we've changed owner, we've changed GM, we've changed coaching staff, we've changed the front office. We've literally changed everything. Player staff. There's only a few players that are still from the old regime. We have brand new seats. We have brand new food. We have a brand new water boy. We have a brand new president. It goes from top to bottom. They're changing everything. I get the frustration, and you use the word optimism. So and hopeful. I'm always optimistic, but I'm just looking at the bigger picture at the same time. We see all the changes, and we understand the changes, and we know you can't just snap your finger like Thanos and everything changes instantly. You have to work for it, and for what Pat Allen's doing to get us out of that 23 error, I think he's been doing a great job. He's been making the changes, and of course you can't kick out 25 players that were in the 23 era and then bring in 23 more and expect to just to be top of the league all of a sudden. Now there has teams that have done last to first, but injuries were involved, all this other good stuff. So we just have to be a little more patient, a little more understanding with the team, and just give them some time. And all right, fire Ben Olsen. So who the hell are you going to bring in right now? Who are you going to bring in? I mean, I'll go coach him for the rest of the year. And I'm pretty sure Kenny Bunny doesn't want to come back up to the first team and do it again like he did last year. He'd probably rather stay at Dose and just work on the training. And if maybe he gets handed the rounds in the future, then that's fine. I bet he would be happy with starting at the beginning of the season, probably not coming in at the middle of the season. So who knows? But who are you going to go get if you fire Ben Olsen right now? Maybe Pat should be the coach then. Put him on the field. It's just tough, bro. It's just tough. But I'm still. I think it just annoys me more just the way people are giving up, especially when I'm driving to the home games. Every single home game, I'm willing to fly out to away games to watch my team win, lose, or draw through thick and thin, blood and water. Bro, it's ridiculous how easy some people just give up and they can't support their freaking team. Uh, Bring up the mistakes, talk about this, but don't give up on your team. You know, yeah, people touch their badge. That's their heart, right? These people ain't touching
Yep.
their badge. They ain't touching their badge. They give up. They give up, and I'm really annoyed, and I hate it, and I can't stand it. You know, does Webb miss a game? Webb travels a lot. He there to support his team with his heart. So, and I want everybody else to start doing the same a little bit more. Yeah, you don't have to pay the money to go see the team at the stadium, watch them on TV, go to a friend's house and let them pay for Apple, and you go watch it with them or something. I don't care, bro. Or maybe just wait till the game's over, watch the friggin' foot mob give you the updates, and you're yeah, it's excited when a goal scores, or dang, glad I'm not watching. Support your team. Watch, you're talking about giving up, and I can't stand it. That's what annoys me. But we're 30 minutes into the episode, and I think I'm gonna stop crying.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that because we might just like stay here for like another 3 hours. But
Yeah.
yeah, that game happened. We're gonna stop talking about it. But Dynamo, like we mentioned, they do have the game against Chicago Fire in the Open Cup quarterfinals this Tuesday, and of course, LAFC at home on Saturday. So
So,
I'll just think about, yeah.
quick question before you transition on, because like I said, I mentioned what we have at the end of the month. So we have Chicago, you have LAFC at home at LAFC. We're home against San Jose, and then at Austin. So to finish up the Dynamo episode, what do you think about those 5 games, and what do you expect out of those 5 games for this month?
I'm particularly just more focused on the Open Cup
One
because
game.
uh, just to start with the Open Cup, because not because it's like the game coming up, but rather the competition itself, because we are pretty much in a good position for us to like make a run for it if we make the right moves. And I noticed that Basi was pretty much just like straight up unavailable for that, and obviously Achache what only played a few minutes in the second half yesterday, and I think they have like a good shot of making a run for that. Outside of that, and obviously we do have the 2 games against LAFC coming up on the road. I don't know. I don't know if they can get a result there, but it will be pretty good. Like, I mean, no complaints if they get a draw here, but yeah, it's I have low hopes for this game, but we'll see how it goes. And the home game against LAFC, they do have to get the result here. Obviously, they're back at home, and at this point, I'm pretty much at the camp of win all the home games because I'm not going to tolerate a draw, even less a loss. So there, San Jose, obviously I need the Tate Schmidt revenge because I they have to beat
Yeah.
San Jose, and and of course the game against Austin, I'm gonna be there, you'll be there, and and like like you said, like fans just need to travel, and if they just can't really, obviously just support as much as possible, and I'm also hoping for a win against Austin, like on the road. The first one in Austin would pretty good.
Yes. Beat the hell out of Austin. So what's going on with Dash, bro?
No, yeah, the Dasher got their first winning streak of the year, so that's pretty good. So
and got a home win. Like we can't even spell win on the road for the Dynamo, and we can't spend win on the road or at home for the Dash. So thank God the Dash get a home win in front of a whopping 4,800 fans last night.
no, yeah, like it's home wins. That's a interesting concept, but I mean we've I mean for this game, I thought the Dash played a very good game. They needed this home win severely because at home they were just pretty much miserable. And of course, Road Warriors are a thing, so that's keeping us afloat in the league standings. But they needed the results at home because, for obvious reasons, like we've seen the Dynamo get those losses on the road, but they still in the picture because of home wins. The Dash have to kind of do the same, but obviously keep the road wins coming in. So it's
Yeah.
interesting how that went down. I
Can we talk about that lineup you used again?
Yes,
What the
yes.
hell, bro? What the hell?
No,
What
yeah.
the hell?
Obviously, the main thing was the fact that Ebony Salmon was benched, and
After he talked her up, Salmon's she's okay. She's disappointed she didn't get put on the England squad. She is a sub, not a sub, but a alternate. So if somebody gets hurt, there is a chance she can still go to the World Cup. But he was talking her up, and then he benches her again, again. Now nothing against Alozi. Obviously, Alozi had a great game too, but bro, what the hell? And then uh, Joel Anderson, she's getting better, so I'm okay with that. But then Sophie Hurst, the rookie, who I'm okay with, Sophie Hurst too, is getting a start over Vigiano again. So Vigiano was benched again. So I guess Hurst has already benched Vigiano, who Vigiano was a mainstay at center at D mid last year, one of the sixes. And then of course after Prysock goes and has a hell of a game last week, she's hurt. She hurt herself in her thigh or whatever. And I don't know where that came from or how it happened, but she didn't even get to play. So it's just I don't know what ladies doing. Sometimes you need to start your best 11. You can't go with the A minus team. You need to go with the A plus team, and then put in your A minus as subs just to keep the flow of the game going. But I don't know what's going on. Why Sam is not getting starts anymore? But when we were so excited about Sam and Ordonez and Sanchez up three, we're not getting that right now. You know, and then poor Shea baby, Shea Groom. ACL out for the rest of the friggin' season. I've been talking her up and waiting for her to return. She comes back, gets 10 minutes worth of time playing, and then boom, done for the friggin' season. I'm getting tired of knee injuries in the Houston Dash, bro. Annoying. But the game was good.
Oh yeah, and with Shagru gone, definitely Barb's gonna take over for her. So everything that Barb does past this point is gonna be for Shagru. And I know you're pretty much upset about that because I've been team Barb, but you've been pretty much team Groom since the start, and it just sucks that she has to be missing the year because of this injury. But like just going back to injuries, like it's just disappointing that uh, Sam Lady pretty much had to switch pieces around because this past week by itself we already lost Ali Prysock. Obviously not for the entire season, but for a while now, and we are pretty much have to kind of share room for the rest of it. So it's just one of those things because it already adds up to the big list of injuries of players that will be missing for the rest of the season or for a good chunk of it. So it's just disappointing to say the least. But Samuel has to do what he has to do, and like it did work against Orlando last night, which was pretty good to see because I was concerned with like the way that the lineup look. Obviously, it looks pretty similar to how it was last week, but it's
But that was a dub too. So
I mean, as long as the win is in, like I'm like that's all that matters to me. Like, and I could care less if we roll out like a 1-3-5 the thing formation or whatever. Like as long as we win, I don't care.
yeah.
But yeah, like it's like this game was pretty good, particularly the first half because the second half Orlando was pretty much trying to get the second goal, and which was also pretty funny because we've been crapping on Jane Campbell for
I'm still
the
crapping on her.
start. We're still crapping on her, but she had a pretty big game last night. You have to say it. You have to give her credit because she was there to make the stops, and defense was doing pretty good outside of a few cracks that just let Orlando through. But they got the job done. Another clean sheet. So credit to Jane Campbell and the back line for getting that done. So we're gonna have to put some respect on Jane Campbell at this point, but we still
Are
have a
we?
long season ahead. So
Or do we
we'll see
have
how
to?
it goes. We'll see
Do
how
we?
it goes.
Do we have to? Because
But
I mean,
yeah,
again, one of my freaking complaints is Jane Campbell's freaking positioning, bro. I can't stand her freaking positioning. She gets on my nerves with her positioning, and it made me want to go look. I didn't go do it though. It made me want to go look at FIFA and see what FIFA thought of her positioning rating because I know she's an 84 in the freaking game. So I was like, oh well, it's probably going to be high, so I'm not even going to look because it's not going to be real. But I don't know, dude. I just can't stand her freaking positioning. There was a ball that came through down the wing that's down the wing. It wasn't direct on the goal, and there was a defender. I'm pretty sure it was Didasco. It might have been Lynn or whatever. And they're I'd, I'd say probably in line with the where the goal box line is. So that's outside the goal post, and the ball was going to be received probably 10 yards. Let's just go with 10, just to be a good guess. 10 yards outside the box, and then as you look up, as they scroll the camera over, here comes Jane Campbell. I'm like, stop, stay where you're supposed to stay. When they're getting down near the box and they're ready to shoot, they're at the 18, they're at the 20, they're at the 22 yard, and they're floating around that box ready to take a shot. She's 4 yards off her friggin' line. She's not even on her line, and I know she's maybe trying to cut off some angle, but the way just the ball's moving, she's putting herself in bad positions, and she can't make up those angles. There was one time I think she expected a shot to come at her. The shot went somewhere different and it ended up going out of bounds. But she backed up like she was going to make the save, and then as the shot went out of bounds, I look at her and she's 4 feet into the goal. Like you're going to make a save inside the goal. So My main complaint is her friggin' positioning, using that friggin' head. But you're right. She did made the saves that she needed to make last night. Everything was parried away clearly. The defense was clearing everything for her. Yes, she's still making the saves that she needs to make. She scares me, and I still would like to see Emily play. Please let me just see Emily play one game, so make me feel better, and maybe I can get back on Jane's side. I'm sorry, Jane. I love you, but stand your ground, girl. Uh,
Yeah, like like my biggest concern with Jane Campbell is also positioning, and and with that, if you catch her off guard, there's a good chance he's gonna let one pass her. But she, I'm gonna kind of repeat myself because I've been pretty much somewhat negative of Jane Campbell before the season started, but she's looking much better now. So it's looking good, but at the same time, like she has to watch out for those things. And I don't know if you also watched it last night, but the handling was kind of weird. But like, well, she got a clean sheet, so credit where credit is due at this point. And I
two in
just
a
hope she keeps that up because like
two,
it's pretty good so far.
two in a row, two clean sheets in a row. So
Yeah,
so obviously we're giving her crap, but she's still doing a good job at the same time. But I'm not giving her a high grade. She's getting a
B minus,
yeah, yeah,
A
yeah. Let's
minus.
no, I wouldn't give her an A just because of how easy that her positioning could put us in a situation where we've given up a goal or we've fallen behind. So I'm gonna give her the B minus. I think is what you go with. She makes the saves. She makes great reactive saves, but she doesn't use her head quite the best when it comes to positioning. So, yeah, she's passing the class. The teacher's not looking at her too hard, obviously, since she's still playing, and Emily hasn't even been given a chance. So, all right. But, anyways, how about Sophie Hurst 5 minutes into the game? Keeper dropped the ball right in front of her, and she just kind of backheels it into the goal. And, good reaction time right there. And keeper's got to be mad that she didn't catch that because she didn't get bumped. She just dropped the ball right there, and then boom, 5 minutes into the game, we score a goal. And I know the 4,800 fans at the game were all had to be happy. The Dash scored at home, and we're taking the lead. Usually, that's a good sign. Because usually, when we lose at home, we give up the first goal, and then we never make it back up.
Yeah, and credit to Sophie Hurst for being on top of that because the keeper made a pretty bad mistake, and Hurst obviously had to put in the back of the net. But shout out for that goal and just staying on her toes. But Michelle Prince though, not Michelle Prince, sorry, Michelle
Woo!
Alosi. Michelle Alosi, like it's crazy that like her goal, like I'll see off the break and off the flank, just a pretty big run like on the right side and buries it. Like I was just impressed by that and
I screamed
like
when she cut
yeah
it back. I screamed. I saw the goal coming when she cut it back because I thought she was going to take that stay that angle and hit that far post, and it was going to be a miss. And then she cut it back and she was able to get around that defender. I was like, yes, yes. I was happy for that, man. Good job for her. I was so proud of her for making that cutback.
no yeah I particularly remember that moment because I was watching the Dash game along with the Dynamo game like on two different screens and I was pretty disappointed with Dynamo, obviously, but just looking at Michelle Losi scoring that, like it's I was like so happy because he was making the run down the right, and I was like, oh crap, she's gonna score, and she did, and I was yelling, and I was like, look at Dynamo again, I was like, and then the Dash game, I was just like hyped up. Oh yeah, that was pretty fun, and but yeah, that was the first half because the Dash were obviously got those two goals and were pushing for more and they had to settle with a 2-0 lead at halftime. And the second half was pretty much just Orlando pushing forward, and the Dash got a couple chances in it as well, but it ended 2-0. So it was a big game for the Dash, obviously being at home, and like I mentioned earlier, like it seals that like at home you have to be better, and at this point with like 2 wins in a row now, and the season's still young for them, like it's got to be a priority now because they're getting those wins on the road, which I'm pretty excited about. But they gotta get it together at home.
Hey, we won the first half of the space race 2-0, and like you said, they Dash played better in the first half. Orlando played better in the second half. So when you go look at the numbers and the stats and how everything kind of planned out on the number side of it, it looked like it was a pretty even game. If you didn't watch the game, you had to come back and watch the stats and the highlights. It looked pretty friggin' even. Both teams made about the same amount of passes, same amount of shots, had the same amount of shots on goal. So it must have been a pretty good game going back and forth last night for those who did get to watch it. Sucks that Dynamo and Dash played at the exact same time. So unless you do have a setup like you and me have, where we have two TVs or a computer in front of us, where we're able to watch two games, and then once those are over, we can turn on the friggin' Dose game because they played last night as well. All three of them played last night. Thank God all three weren't the exact same time. So that was
Yeah.
yeah. That was the only thing that was fun about it is we just had a lot of soccer on, but it's hard to pay attention to this one when you're trying to watch this one, and hard to pay attention to that one when you're trying to watch this one. That's where my TVs are, by the way. but
No,
but
yeah, like
let's not do too many more of those.
no, yeah, like I hate when even like two teams play at the same time because you can really focus on one game. You have to like keep switching back and forth, which doesn't give you time to like analyze things through. But yeah, I prefer just teams playing like separately, just so I can like watch them uh, and analyze it. And
and, and,
yeah,
and bro, if
yeah,
I was in living in Houston right now, I even thought about this before. I even thought about this yesterday because I almost went to Houston yesterday because I was going to go to the Astros at 3 o'clock and then Dash at 7:30. It's like worked out perfect. I'll make a long trip. I'm gonna get two games in, right? Awesome. Or go to Dash last night and then stay for Astros today and make a trip out of it. But I decided not to go and decided to stay home and watch. But if I was living in Houston at the time, I would have been at the Dash game and would have had to go back home and watch the replay of the Dynamo game, which I still would have done. I would have watched the replay of the Dynamo game, even though I knew the friggin' score. Because what do? We're reporting the game, so I better report it correctly, right? So, uh, but maybe I should just go to Dash games right now. Only, nah, frustrating, but
exclusively.
yeah,
But yeah,
exclusively, man. And they make it 4,801 fans coming to every game. So, but,
but yeah, and yeah, big win for the Dash. So shout out to them to get their first winning streak of the season. Even if it's just two wins in a row, like it's still progress. So that's all that matters in the standings. They they do have this team coming up. It's called Gotham. I don't know if you heard about them, but I think that's the team where our previous head coach is right now.
you think we get any booze? Not we.
Uh,
You think you hear any booze?
I I think so, but only a few because of the way that he just left,
Yeah.
and the way that it was like the whole thing unfolded during the off season. So I think it's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be like a majority of the stadium,
No,
but I think I'm gonna see. I think I'm gonna hear it like from a couple fans. I think.
and you don't get many chances to boo him because you're only going to hear his name one time, and it's at the maybe at the beginning of the game. Even if you hear his name, or you're just going to see him and whatever, that's the only time you might boo the guy. Or maybe if he's arguing with the ref on the sideline, then you might hear some boos come from the stands. But yeah, boo. I'm over him now. I just need Lady to hurry up and figure it out. But you know. I guess good for him that he's doing a great job in Gotham right now too, because they were the worst team in the league last year. Now they're the second best with a game in hand. So, what the heck's going on? But you know, we'll move on from him. So if I make it to that game next weekend at 6 o'clock on Sunday, I'll be one of those that boo him for that's for damn sure. You won't be able
No,
to hear the
yeah,
boo over the drums, but
I was gonna say because I'm planning to go to that game as well as the Dynamo game the day before, and if I'm there, I'm definitely gonna see you booing,
yeah, for sure.
Coach Amoros because you'd be like one of those people, definitely.
I might even before the game just kind of go sit behind his bench just so he can hear me boo. But then I'm gonna get back to my not my seat to my section to where I could support my girls.
Of course. Oh, well, yeah, and with that, let's talk about Dynamo 2. What a weird concept. Road win. 2-0 over LAFC 2. And I was disappointed with the fact that I wasn't not able to watch this game because I did try to watch the game during the Dynamo and Dash game because it started right around the second half for those games. And while I was while I was going through the streams before those games started, I was looking for the Dynamo 2 stream on Apple TV, but for some reason it wasn't showing up. And I figured that it was the case because the game got rescheduled. If you remember correctly, it was scheduled to be today, Sunday, but it got moved to Saturday instead. And for some reason, the game wasn't showing up as a game on Sunday, or altogether, like I wasn't able to see it like on the stream schedule. So unfortunately, I was not able to see it, but I was keeping all the updates from the league website as well as FOTMob. And the thing I'm gonna say, and the thing that I want to keep saying is Eva
Diego.
Gonzalez. uh, it should be. I guess at this point, it should be a pretty uh, good consideration for the first team because he's doing a pretty good job with Dynamo 2. Obviously, at the start of the second half, he gets his fifth goal of the year and to open the scoring. And and down the road, obviously, Papa Ndoye doing what he does, scoring his fourth of the year. And I'm pretty happy about that. I really cannot discuss a lot about this game because I wasn't able to see it, unfortunately. But I know I know for a fact that these two players in particular, they've been pretty good for us from the past few games we've been seeing so far this season. So, what do you gotta say, OG?
Man, it was we already played LAFC at home, and it felt like the same game as if it was when it was at home. Except I think Dose played a little better this time than they did at home. LAFC looked like the better team when they came down here to Houston and played us, and then it was us that looked a little better this time whenever we went to their house. And of course, if you remember when we played at home, it was 0-0, and we had to win on PKs 4-1. So it was just one of those back and forth games. LAFC was a tough, even though they're at the bottom of the bracket. But like Bunny said in the pregame press conference, I think a couple days before the game, he's like, LAFC is a lot tougher than they look, so don't trust the standings for what they are. And of course, we already played them, so we already knew what they were like. We knew what we were getting into, So shout out to the boys; they're getting better. And it looks like they're getting that rust out from under the system that they had at the start of the season. And then, like you said, Diego getting that goal, and of course, it came off a mistake. LAFC guy on the wing, right fullback, for some reason he just decided to center the ball, and there's nobody in the world on his team even were remotely close to the ball. I wasn't sure if it was Evans or who it was in the midfield, or if it was even Maples. Couldn't couldn't catch it quick enough. He's the one who come and intercepts the ball, makes one through pass to Diego. He takes a couple touches and boom into the goal. Great job, Diego. And I'm the other chances we had in the game, and then Papa and Doy just making the run that every striker likes to make is right into the 6 yard box. But before that pass that came before to get to that open range to make that freaking pass, he had to go around the defender, and then he split the two defenders and just made that left footed cross right in front of the goal. Keeper couldn't do nothing about it. Papa was right there, put it in the back of the net, and we'll call that Papa's birthday goal since he didn't score last weekend. He had a birthday, I think, the day after the game in Houston. So we'll call that his birthday goal. And good shot, Papa. And I'm glad you're getting a little more playing time because last weekend you didn't get to play at all, and we were sitting there. We were sitting right behind that bench, just giving him pumping him up the whole game, and then Bundy didn't even put him in. He's like, "Come on, Bundy, I know you hear us pumping the guy up. Put him in." But it's shout out to the boys last night, and it's but pretty even across the board. Is but Valdez is back. Juan Castilla is back because both have been eliminated from the World Cup, so that's a good thing to see. Valdez did start, Castilla did not, but I didn't expect Castilla to get the start. He's got to get acclimated back with the team. Valdez, you can start him at any time, so looking forward to it. And then back to the comment you made about Diego to the first team. I don't want to see Diego on the first team this year unless there's there's a way we can just get him up for like a couple of games where it's just that one game, and then he goes back to dose, and then maybe he comes up for another game later, and then he goes back to dose, and we just see him. I don't want to see him in on Dynamo yet. Playing every kind of like we did Avila last year. Avila had a great season at Dose. We signed his contract and he came up to the first team. We didn't barely even use him, and when we did use him, he didn't do anything. I think Diego does fit on this team, but I would like to just kind of see him a couple times, and then when the off season comes along, that Diego Gonzalez is part of the plans for the first team with some of these players that'll be departing and get him in there, and maybe even Papa's going to be one of those players too. Those are two, and then you got Uriel, or how do you say his name, Yadi Gonzalez, the other Gonzalez, both the Gonzalez brothers. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I, I forget
No,
his
yeah.
name because
No, yeah, that's you're talking about
Yair, Yair,
Jerry Gonzalez, yeah.
yeah,
Because
Yair,
we have
yeah.
a couple of Gonzalez's on the team, so you have to keep an eye on that. And
Right, and good
yeah.
thing you can tell the difference. Good thing you tell the difference between the two, and they both play different positions. So that's the bonus for them. So uh, I'm looking forward to. So there is some hope down there on Dose for some of these players, but I don't want to risk them this season unless there's just an opportunity to get them in there, catch a wink, and then get them back down to Dose and let them continue growing and training with Kenny Bundy, and then maybe during the off season we can look at getting those players up here and see if they belong on the first team or not.
Yeah, and going back to Diego Gonzalez, at least would you think that, or at least consider bringing him as a short term solution for the League's Cup? Not to say like as a starter, but rather just have him as an option on the bench, because I feel like if it'll be good to at least like have some ways to at least keep a close eye on him, but I'm not sure if it's just like a big risk to have like that spot taken over by Diego Gonzalez, which hasn't seen like a lot of first team minutes. So I was thinking either that or maybe like signing like as a short term deal, like maybe sometime throughout the season.
League's Cup would be nice, but I would like for the Dynamo to go full force at that, especially when you have no MLS games going on at the same time. So you can play your best 11 players and not have to worry about an MLS game coming around the corner. You got two games 4 days apart, one on the 21st, one on the 25th. So there might need to be some rotation, but right now we have all those players. So maybe Diego needs to be a short term loan during the MLS season and get him in there and just test him out. And but I don't know about Leagues Cup, but that could be a good place too. Depends on how they want to take Leagues Cup. And if we beat Chicago in this Open Cup and we go to the next round, and then you never know what's going to happen after that. Ben Olsen might be confident going into another tournament like that because we're not doing well during the season, but we're doing well during the cup. Kind of like some other teams, they shit the bricks in their league season, but then when they play in this little tournament, like they're superstars. Kind of like Seattle was last year. They had a horrible season, but they go and win the CCL. Like, how do you? I mean, I don't even get how that happens, anyways. Against the better teams, you win the tournament, and against your own league, you can't. You're not playing well at all. So it'll be interesting to see what we do with some of those players and what Kenny Bundy does, and then what Ben Olsen does when he if he even wants to look at some of these players. I don't think he does. Vanderkust was still on Dose, and there's somebody that I'm pretty sure his name's being yelled right now. Put him in instead of Gasper. We didn't even see Brad Smith, so why didn't Brad Smith get the friggin' start? We said he didn't start in Vancouver because of the friggin' turf. So, yeah, I'm not going to stray off any further.
Oh yeah, and the good news, and I was actually gonna mention this. Javinci Vanderkust started this game, so he's back on the fold, which is good to see. So
Yes,
it's if if he
please.
if he gets another opportunity with the first team, it's more likely now. I'm guessing he's gonna have to play a couple more games with Dynamo too because he hasn't played consistently. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But yeah, he started this game, which is good to see. And because at this point we're gonna have to switch some pieces around defensively for the first team. So that's good to know.
Yeah, I'm glad he's back from wherever the hell he went. If he went back home for a minute or whatever, maybe he had a personal reasons he needed to go back. But good thing he's back. Let's see some more action from him, and let's see if because that left back is obviously a question mark over there. We got Brad Smith, and who else do we have? You want to put Escobar back over there or Stairs? You definitely don't want Gasper over there.
I
Who
was
else?
gonna say Chase Gasper, but
Yeah, you don't
I
want you
must have said
don't.
joke with
Yeah, yeah, that's a bad joke.
it.
So we still got to figure it out, and I still got people shitting on Bartlow. I still believe in Bartlow. I still think he does. He's still doing a hell of a job, and I think even the announcers are they notice how well he plays. But then we get some people in here that says he's just not doing well. He's a parking cone. He's not no friggin' parking cone, man. Y'all, yeah. Let's see. I don't even react to those people whenever they say things like that because then it just turns into all this you, and I'm just like, nah, you've got your opinion on him, I've got mine, so I'm gonna stick with Bartlow like I have since the off season, since the end of last season where I said he was gonna be our starter day one, and he actually got to stay in his position, and Eric got to start the left center back this time, and it was Bartlow that held on to the right back. So I was kind of happy to see that Bartlow looks like he's the guy right there. Eric obviously still has some work to do because he hasn't played a full 90 yet. So we got work to do there, and then Escobar, or was it Escobar on the right yesterday? I think it was.
Yes,
Yeah, Escobar.
he did play on the right yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, just got work to do, but interesting to see. And with that win, that Dose pushing up the damn standings now too. All of a sudden, so I'm glad we're out of that, getting that rust out of the way and
Oh no,
wiping that
yeah,
off.
yeah. I was surprised because I remember exactly like in the beginning of the season where we haven't been winning a lot of games. We were like near the bottom,
Yep,
and I checked the standings this morning, and like we're pretty high up now, which is good
fourth.
to. Yeah, we're
We're in
fourth
fourth.
now, so that's pretty good.
Austin is in third, 3 points ahead of us, and we have a game in hand. So technically, we could be tied with Austin if we could just get that win, and then we made up all the ground that we lost, and then we just got to work our way back to first. So that'll be getting it right back on. So good job, Kenny Bundy. Good job, Kenny Bundy. I hope you're listening to the show,
Yeah, they do have their next game on the road as well at Minnesota United too. So
which
hopefully
will
we'll
be
get
at
a stream.
6. Which will be at 6 o'clock on Sunday while you're watching the Dash.
Yep, yep, and hopefully they keep the road results coming in, especially with like you said, they lost ground early in the first few games of the season. So we're just gonna have to wish for the best. But it's looking pretty good for Dynamo too, as they get back on the groove from last year. So good to see.
And
And I
speaking of other standings, since
yeah,
I kind of skipped it, the Dash moved up back into sixth place, so now they're back in the playoff spot, and they're trying to climb that ladder. But again, a home win helps. A home win helps. So they're sixth place, and I think no matter what we do, I mean, we got Gotham coming in, and Gotham technically is back in second. Portland supposedly, which I was surprised to see this, Portland got their first win at OL Reign, which I was kind of surprised. I don't know. I didn't read the detail. I just saw the headline, so I should have questioned it more because now that I'm thinking about it, Portland's first win at OL. I don't believe that. I don't believe that crap 1 second. But whatever. So Portland's back in first, but Gotham has games in hand, so they could easily they'll beat us and they take back first place again. So this is going to be a big, huge game at home on Sunday, guys. So if you're listening, you're not doing nothing. Juan Carlos Aramos, he's coming back to Houston, guys. So we need to at least 7,000 to 8,000 fans at this game to and let them know that we're supporting the girls and we need to get this freaking win, bro. And then as far as the Dynamo standings go, Cincinnati's freaking killing it in the East, working their way up top, and then Nashville all of a sudden is hopped into second place over there in the East, and then in the West, St. Louis is in first place. Whatever. They're doing pretty well. St. Louis is doing great,
yep,
but LA has a lot of games in hand. So and they only have one loss still. So technically, LA is still the best team. Seattle's kind of falling back off again. So I guess my prediction there is just going to be shit. But whatever. But you know, And then Austin lost against RSL at home. And then SKC, I don't remember what SKC. I think they tied, if I remember correctly. SKC with yeah, they went to Vancouver and tied 1-1. So that's good news, right? And then FC Dallas at
That's
home lost to Nashville 2-1. So that's how those rivals went as far as which one MLS. And then if you go back to Dose, Austin beat Real Monarchs 3-0 at home this weekend. North Texas doesn't play tonight. And then what was SKC? What did they do? I don't even remember what they did. So who cares? Um, but you know, Dose and Dash are in playoff positions right now. Dynamo's in 10th. They're one spot out. I think they still have a game in hand as well, which we'll make up when we play LFC next week during the week. So Dynamo's got to figure some things out. But other than that, that's just a quick wrap up. I'm not going to take you through every game this week. I think y'all know.
yeah. You can do your own homework, but
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it's gonna be it for the episode. I was seeing a lot of discussion, especially when it comes to Dynamo. But again, shout out to Dash and Dynamo too for getting the job done, getting more dubs coming out of a pretty successful week last week. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We'll see you in the next one, and stay noodle.
H is up.